Have you ever noticed that your legs feel just a little heavier than they used to? That getting up from a chair takes a few more seconds? Or that a short walk leaves you oddly sore, not tired, but tight, achy? Now, most people will tell you it's just part of getting older. But what if I told you it's not always about what you're not doing? Sometimes it's what you're doing every single day, thinking it's the right choice, when in fact, it could be slowly weakening your body. For decades, we've been told that fruits are always healthy, natural, wholesome, safe. But the truth is, not all fruits are created equal, especially after age 60. In fact, some of the fruits you eat every week, thinking they're helping, could actually be fueling joint pain, poor circulation, and the silent erosion of your leg strength. This isn't fear-mongering. It's awareness. Because once you understand what's really happening inside your body, you can make better choices, smarter ones, that help you move easier, live stronger, and feel better. Today, I'll walk you through 7 fruits you should reconsider if you want to protect your knees, your joints, and your independence. You might be surprised. Some of them are probably sitting in your fridge right now. So, if you care about your mobility, if you want to stay active, stable, and strong, stick with me to the end, because your legs don't just carry your body. They carry your freedom. It starts quietly. At first, you might not even notice. You brush it off as a tired day, or maybe blame it on the weather. But slowly, the signs start stacking up. Your legs feel a little heavier. Stairs seem a little steeper. And walking across a parking lot leaves you needing a moment to catch your breath. We often chalk this up to aging. And yes, age does bring changes. But here's what most people don't realize. Not all age-related decline is inevitable. Some of it is preventable. And much of it is silent. Let's break it down. What's really happening in the body? After 60, several subtle shifts begin inside us. Muscle loss, sarcopenia, naturally accelerates, especially in the legs. Circulation weakens, meaning less oxygen reaches our muscles. Metabolism slows down, so blood sugar spikes last longer and do more damage. Inflammation rises, especially in joints, knees, ankles. And when these factors combine, something surprising happens. Even the foods we once loved and believed were helping us can start to work against us. Real-life example, Mildred's story. Take Mildred, 67. She walks every morning, eats what she thinks is a clean, fruit-rich diet. But still, she tells her doctor, "My legs feel like sandbags by noon." When she starts tracking her diet, she realizes every morning starts with a fruit smoothie, bananas, pineapple, orange juice. It sounds healthy, right? But for her aging body, it was a perfect storm: acid, sugar, and inflammation. Small lesson, big impact. Here's what we learn from stories like Mildred's. What helps us at 30 doesn't always help us at 60. Our bodies change. And to stay strong, we have to adapt with it. It's not about giving things up. It's about understanding what supports us now. Smooth transition to next section. So before we dive into the list of fruits, let's clear something up. This video isn't about blaming fruit. Fruit is powerful, healing, delicious, but in the wrong context. The wrong fruit at the wrong time in the wrong body. It can quietly undermine your strength. So let's start with the one that surprises people the most. It's tropical. It's refreshing. It's even marketed as an anti-inflammatory. But for many seniors, it may be doing the exact opposite. Let's talk about pineapple. For as long as we can remember, fruit has been the symbol of health. Bright, fresh, natural, full of vitamins. It's what we give to kids, serve at brunch, or snack on between meals. But here's something you may not have heard before. What's healthy for the average person isn't always healthy for a senior. And the truth is, not all fruits are created equal, especially after age 60. Why natural sugar can still be a problem. Fruits are rich in something we rarely question: natural sugar. We're told it's different from processed sugar, and to a degree it is, but your body doesn't know that. After 60, the body's ability to process sugar, any sugar, slows down. Our insulin sensitivity drops. Circulation isn't what it used to be. And those sugar spikes, even from fruits, begin to linger longer and hurt more. The result? Increased inflammation in joints, fluid retention in the legs, sluggish blood flow, and over time, a slow, steady decline in leg strength and balance. Real-life example, Harold's misunderstanding. Harold, 72, had a sweet tooth, but he was trying to make better choices. So he gave up cookies and soda and replaced them with healthy snacks. A bowl of grapes, a glass of orange juice, some dried mango strips. 6 months later, he was experiencing tingling in his toes, occasional knee swelling, constant fatigue when climbing stairs. His doctor told him his blood sugar was unstable, despite not eating junk food. That's when he learned the truth. He was eating more sugar than ever, just in a different disguise. A simple but powerful reminder. So here's the lesson. Natural doesn't always mean harmless. And just because something comes from a tree or vine doesn't mean it's right for every stage of life. As we age, the foods we choose must do more than taste good. They must work with our body, not against it. That's why awareness is key. Knowing which fruits energize and support you and which ones slowly drain your strength is one of the most important decisions you can make for your mobility and independence. Smooth transition to next section. So, if not all fruits are senior-friendly, which one should we be more cautious about? Let's begin with a tropical favorite that most people consider anti-inflammatory, but may actually be doing the opposite for older adults. You guessed it. Let's talk about pineapple and why it's not as friendly to aging legs as you might think. If you asked most people to name a fruit that fights inflammation, pineapple would probably top the list. And they wouldn't be wrong at first glance. This golden tropical fruit contains bromelain, a natural enzyme known for its anti-inflammatory properties. That's why it's often recommended to people with arthritis, joint pain, even post-surgery recovery. But for seniors, especially those over 60, pineapple carries a hidden cost. The other side of pineapple, sugar plus acid equals trouble. Here's what doesn't get talked about. Pineapple is high in natural sugars. It's also highly acidic. And bromelain, it can interact with medications, especially blood thinners. For older adults, this combination can be quietly harmful. The sugar causes your blood sugar to spike rapidly. And as we age, our blood vessels become more fragile, less able to recover from those spikes. This weakens circulation to the legs, feet, and knees. The acid? It irritates already sensitive joints, particularly if you suffer from arthritis or chronic inflammation. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire that's already smoldering. Real-life example, Patricia's wake-up call. Patricia, 69, started every morning with a glass of pineapple juice, thinking it would help her joints. She even added pineapple slices to her lunch salads. But over time, she noticed, her knees felt stiff after sitting. Her ankles swelled on short walks. She needed to lie down more often just to relieve the dragging sensation in her thighs. At first, she thought she wasn't exercising enough. But when she paused her pineapple habit for 3 weeks, the swelling eased, the stiffness improved, her energy returned, all because she removed one thing she thought was helping, but wasn't. A simple, lasting lesson. Here's the takeaway. Even healthy foods can hurt us if they don't match the body we live in today. You don't have to hate pineapple. You don't even have to cut it out completely. But if you've been struggling with joint pain, swelling, or fatigue in your legs, it's worth asking, is this fruit still serving me? Or is it slowing me down? When it comes to your health, even small adjustments can lead to big improvements. Smooth transition to next section. So now that we've explored pineapple, the anti-inflammatory that might be inflaming your joints, let's turn to the next fruit. It's soft, sweet, and packed with potassium. People swear by it for muscle recovery and avoiding cramps. But for seniors, it may be quietly working against your strength and stability. Let's talk about bananas. Bananas, they're soft, convenient, comforting. They're packed with potassium and promoted as a go-to snack for avoiding cramps and boosting energy. And for decades, we believe that a banana a day is a smart, healthy choice, especially as we age. But here's what most people don't know. The very fruit you think is helping your muscles might be slowly making them weaker. The sugar plus carb combo that misleads you. Bananas are high in potassium, yes, but they're also high in natural sugars and fast-digesting carbohydrates. When you're younger, your body processes those sugars quickly and efficiently. But after 60, your metabolism slows. Your cells become more resistant to insulin, and those quick sugar spikes start doing more harm than good. What happens next? Sudden fatigue after meals, heaviness in the legs, stiff calves, swollen feet or ankles, especially by evening. You might chalk it up to aging or lack of activity, but often it's what you've just eaten that sets the stage. Real-life example, Walter's routine reevaluated. Walter, 73, was proud of his healthy habits. Every morning, he'd have a banana with his cereal and head to his local park for a brisk walk. But halfway through his walk, his legs began to feel heavy. Some days, he had to sit down on a bench and rest his ankles. And after lunch, more bananas or fruit smoothies. He'd often need a nap. At first, he thought it was just age catching up. But after a dietitian suggested he track how he felt after specific meals, a pattern emerged. Every time he ate bananas, he felt more tired, more sluggish, and less mobile. He reduced his banana intake to just half a fruit and paired it with a boiled egg. The difference? More energy, less swelling, and no mid-walk fatigue. The lesson? Listen to your body's version of healthy. Here's what we can learn from Walter. What fuels one body can weigh another one down. It's not that bananas are bad, but if you're over 60, your body may no longer respond to them the same way it once did. And what feels like a nutritious habit may be silently stealing your strength. Have you ever felt tired or swollen after a healthy snack? Let us know in the comments. Your story might help someone else make a life-changing discovery. Smooth transition to next section. Now, if bananas, famous for muscle support, can weigh us down, what about a fruit even smaller, sweeter, and easier to overeat? It's tiny, it's juicy, and it's known for being heart healthy. But for seniors, it may quietly trigger one of the most painful joint conditions out there. Let's talk about grapes. They're small, sweet, easy to eat by the handful. Grapes are often seen as a guilt-free snack, something you can enjoy without thinking twice. After all, they're natural. They're heart healthy. They even have antioxidants. But for many seniors, grapes may be quietly setting off a chain reaction, one that leads to inflammation, joint pain, and a slower, more painful walk. The issue isn't the size of the fruit. It's the impact of what's inside it. The fructose trap, when healthy sugar turns against you. Grapes are packed with fructose, a type of natural sugar that, when consumed in excess, is processed directly by the liver. And in aging bodies, that's where the problem begins. When the liver can't keep up, fructose turns into fat, which worsens metabolic issues, uric acid, which builds up in the bloodstream and settles into the joints. The result? Sudden pain in the big toe, often mistaken for a stubbed foot, tingling or stiffness in the calves and ankles, occasional flares of joint pain that make even short walks uncomfortable. Sound familiar? If you felt a sharp pain in your foot at night or noticed swelling after a fruit-heavy snack, grapes might be the culprit. Real-life example, Evelyn's evening pain. Evelyn, 68, always kept a bowl of grapes in the fridge. She'd snack on them after dinner while watching TV, thinking it was better than cookies or chips. But over time, her joints began to ache. Some nights, she couldn't sleep because her toes felt hot, stiff, and sore. Her doctor initially suspected arthritis, but her lab showed elevated uric acid levels. When she cut out grapes for just 2 weeks, the nighttime foot pain stopped, her morning stiffness improved, and the swelling in her ankles became a thing of the past, all from changing one small habit. A simple truth, often overlooked. Here's the takeaway. Small fruits can cause big issues, especially when we overdo them. Grapes aren't bad in moderation, but they're dangerously easy to overconsume, especially because they don't feel filling. By the time you finish a few handfuls, you may have spiked your sugar and uric acid levels more than you realize. If you suffer from joint pain or swelling, and grapes are a regular part of your diet, this might be a good time to step back and observe the connection. Have you ever noticed discomfort in your legs or joints after certain snacks? Drop a comment below. We're building a space for shared insight, not silent suffering. Smooth transition to next section. Now, if grapes, a fruit known for being heart smart, can spark joint inflammation, what about a fruit even more innocent looking? One we associate with hydration, summer, and low calories? It's light, juicy, harmless, right? Well, not always. Let's talk about watermelon and the surprising toll it can take on your legs. Nothing says summer like a cold slice of watermelon. It's sweet, refreshing, mostly water. And for years, we believed it's one of the safest, most hydrating fruits you can eat. But here's what you might not know. For seniors, watermelon can be a hidden danger, especially when it comes to blood sugar and leg health. High water, high sugar, the misleading mix. Watermelon is about 90% water, yes, but it also has a very high glycemic index, GI, which means it raises your blood sugar faster than most fruits. When you eat watermelon, your body reacts almost like it would to a spoonful of candy. Insulin surges, blood sugar spikes, and inflammation follows, particularly in places where circulation is already slowing down. For older adults, that means swollen ankles after meals, a dragging sensation in the calves, fatigue after short walks, and that dull ache that shows up after you've only had fruit. Real-life example, Maria's summer setback. Maria, 66, loves summer. Every afternoon, she'd relax on the porch with 2 big slices of watermelon, sometimes 3. But by late July, she started noticing. Her sandals felt tight by the evening. Her knees ached after standing in the kitchen. Her morning walks felt harder, not easier. Her doctor asked about diet, and when she mentioned watermelon, he paused. Turns out, her daily fruit routine was delivering huge sugar loads, disguised as hydration. Once she switched to lower GI fruits like berries and pears, the swelling eased, her energy came back, and her walks became enjoyable again. A gentle reminder. Here's the key lesson. Hydrating doesn't always mean helpful, especially when sugar comes along for the ride. For seniors, blood sugar control is just as important as hydration, and what feels light and healthy can sometimes tip the scale toward fatigue and inflammation. Watermelon isn't evil, but it shouldn't be eaten in large portions every day, especially if you're noticing leg pain or circulation issues. 1 slice on a hot day? Fine. 3 every afternoon? Maybe not. Have you ever felt more tired or swollen after a healthy snack like watermelon? Share your story in the comments. Someone else might be having the same experience without realizing it. Smooth transition to next section. Now, if even watermelon, the poster child for hydration, can cause problems, what about the fruit we trust every morning to boost our immunity? It's bright, citrusy, packed with vitamin C. But if you're over 60, it might be doing more harm to your joints than you think. Let's talk about oranges. For many people, mornings start with something simple, a slice of toast, maybe an egg, and a tall glass of orange juice. It's a ritual rooted in decades of belief. Vitamin C equals immunity. Citrus equals health. But if you've been waking up with stiff knees, sore hips, or aching joints, it might be time to take a closer look at what's inside that sunny orange glass. The hidden acid that irritates aging joints. Oranges are rich in citric acid, that sharp, tangy flavor we associate with freshness. And while a younger body can handle that acid with no problem, an aging body, especially one with inflammation or arthritis, can react very differently. What happens? The acid begins to irritate soft tissues. It amplifies inflammation that's already present in joints. It can lead to increased stiffness after rest, especially in the morning, and it may contribute to swelling after periods of sitting or standing. Pair that with the fruit's natural sugar content, and the effect can double. inflammation from both acid and glucose spikes. Real-life example, Darlene's healthy habit unmasked. Darlene, 65, never skipped her morning juice. She believed in starting the day right, and for her, that meant vitamin C from fresh oranges. But over time, her hips began to ache before she even got out of bed. She struggled to bend at the knees when gardening. She thought it was just old age creeping in, until she attended a local wellness seminar and heard something that shocked her. Citrus acid can worsen joint pain in adults over 60. She swapped her morning juice for warm water with lemon, less acidic, and a handful of berries. Within 2 weeks, her joints felt less inflamed. Her movement in the mornings improved, and her energy throughout the day was noticeably stronger. A gentle truth we often overlook. Here's a reminder we all need. Not all pain is permanent, and not all healthy habits are timeless. What helped you in your 30s might now be quietly working against you in your 60s. Listening to your body isn't just smart, it's empowering. You don't have to eliminate oranges forever. But if you're battling joint pain, try giving your body a short break from them and watch what happens. Have you ever questioned a health habit that no longer serves you? Drop your experience in the comments. You might just help someone else re-examine theirs. Smooth transition to next section. Now, if even oranges, famous for boosting the immune system, can quietly inflame aging joints, what about the fruit that most seniors think is the safest choice? It's crisp, green, less sweet, but it hides an acid that may be slowly wearing down your knees, hips, and ankles. Let's talk about green apples. They look clean, they taste crisp, and with their low sugar and high fiber reputation, green apples are often seen as the safe fruit for seniors. But here's a side of green apples that rarely gets mentioned. They may be contributing to your joint stiffness, leg fatigue, and nighttime cramps without you even realizing it. Malic acid and the aging body. The tart flavor in green apples comes from malic acid, a natural compound that gives them their signature tang. And while malic acid has benefits in younger bodies, it can cause irritation in aging digestive and joint tissues. As we get older, our gut lining becomes more sensitive. Inflammation in joints becomes harder to recover from, and repeated exposure to certain acids can slowly amplify pain and tightness, especially in the legs and hips. Add in the natural sugars, and you now have a fruit that may quietly lead to morning leg stiffness, tension in the knees after walking, a heaviness in the thighs that's hard to explain. Real-life example, Alan's evening routine. Alan, 70, had a nightly habit. He'd slice up a green apple and eat it while watching the evening news. It helped with digestion, or so he thought. But over time, he noticed something odd. His knees felt tight every morning. His lower back ached when getting out of bed, and stretching before his walks no longer relieved the tension in his legs. After working with a nutritionist, he paused his evening apples for just 10 days. Instead, he had a small pear or a piece of papaya. And what happened? The tension in his legs lessened. His mornings became easier, and he finally started feeling like himself again. The lesson: when healthy needs to be redefined. Here's what we learned from Alan. Health isn't just about what looks good or sounds right. It's about how your body responds. Green apples might still be a great option for some, but for others, especially those dealing with joint pain or nighttime stiffness, it might be worth reevaluating the timing, the portion, or the frequency. You don't have to give them up completely, but if your body is sending you signals, it's okay to listen and adjust. Have you ever made a small change, only to realize it had a big impact on your comfort or energy? Share it in the comments. You never know who needs to hear your story today. Smooth transition to next section. Now, if even a tart, fiber-rich fruit like green apples can silently wear on your joints, what about the fruit that's beloved by almost everyone? Soft, sweet, juicy. It's like candy from nature. But beneath that golden glow lies a sugar surge that can throw your whole system out of balance. Let's talk about mangoes and why they may be the most deceptively dangerous fruit for seniors struggling with inflammation and nerve pain. Sweet, juicy, irresistible. Mangoes are the kind of fruit that feels like a treat, but comes from nature. That's why so many of us trust them. They seem healthier than cake, more innocent than candy. But here's the problem. Your body doesn't measure sweetness by intention. It measures it by sugar. And for seniors, mangoes can pack a surprisingly powerful sugar punch. The hidden spike: sugar, insulin, and inflammation. Mangoes are rich in natural sugar, yes, but they're also one of the highest sugar fruits available, and that matters, especially after 60. Here's why. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at processing glucose. High sugar intake causes insulin spikes, followed by sudden drops. These fluctuations lead to chronic inflammation, particularly in the joints, feet, and legs. They can trigger burning sensations, nerve pain, or even heaviness when walking. The issue isn't just the sweetness, it's how easily we eat too much. A mango feels light, fresh, so we eat a whole one or two, and before we know it, we've consumed more sugar than a full dessert. Real-life example: Linda's surprising discovery. Linda, 72, loved mango season. Every summer, she sliced one up after lunch, every single day. But soon, she started experiencing a tingling in her toes, a strange, burning sensation in her feet at night, and a growing stiffness in her ankles after just 20 minutes of walking. After a friend suggested she log her food and symptoms, she made the connection. She paused mangoes for 3 weeks. And the result? Her foot pain faded. The burning stopped. She even noticed her mood and energy stabilizing. She didn't cut mangoes out forever. But now, she eats just a few cubes with protein and only occasionally. The takeaway: sweet doesn't mean safe. Here's the simple truth. Even fruits can act like sugar bombs, especially in aging bodies. Mangoes might be natural, but so is honey. So is syrup. Your body responds not to the label, but to the load. If you're dealing with swelling, nerve pain, or unexplained fatigue after meals, it's worth asking, is the fruit I love still loving me back? Have you ever had a favorite food that turned out to be part problem? Let us know in the comments. Your story might be the missing puzzle piece for someone else. Smooth transition to final section. Now that we looked at 7 common fruits that may be quietly sabotaging your joint health and mobility, it's time to flip the script. Because not all fruits are the problem. In fact, some are powerful allies in your fight for strength, circulation, and pain-free movement. Let's talk about the fruits you should eat and how they can help restore what others quietly take away. We've spent this journey uncovering the fruits that might be quietly hurting your legs, joints, and energy. But now, let's talk about the ones that can actually help you heal. Because fruit isn't the enemy. The key is choosing the ones that work with your aging body, not against it. Let's explore the fruits that support your strength, reduce inflammation, and help you move with ease again. Berries, the tiny powerhouses for circulation and joint health. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. Low in sugar, high in antioxidants and flavonoids. Help improve blood flow to legs, reduce stiffness, and ease inflammation. Real-life tip: add a handful of berries to your breakfast or yogurt, not just for taste, but for mobility. Fun fact: seniors who eat berries at least 3 times per week report fewer joint flare-ups and better walking endurance. Avocado, the joint cushioning superfruit. Yes, it's a fruit, rich in healthy fats that lubricate joints and support insulin regulation. Keeps blood sugar stable, reducing inflammation from spikes. Real-life story: Frank, 68, replaces banana toast with mashed avocado. Within a month, his afternoon swelling and post-meal crashes were gone. It gave me strength that lasted, not a sugar rush that faded. Cherries, the natural gout fighter, especially tart cherries or cherry juice, help lower uric acid, reducing the risk of gout and joint stiffness. Just a small portion goes a long way. Tip: 6 to 8 cherries or 1/3 cup of unsweetened juice is enough to feel the benefit without overdoing sugar. Pears, gentle sweetness without the crash. Easy to digest, especially when ripe. Low glycemic index, mild on joints. Can be eaten alone or with a sprinkle of cinnamon and a dollop of yogurt. Why it works: It satisfies your sweet tooth without shocking your system. Papaya, the tropical healer for aging digestion, contains papain, an enzyme that helps reduce bloating and inflammation. Soft texture, easy to chew, ideal for sensitive stomachs and tender joints. Real-life use, add it to a smoothie or enjoy chilled after a walk. It's a cooling anti-inflammatory snack that loves your body back. The final lesson, eat with intention, not just tradition. Here's the truth. Growing older doesn't mean giving up fruit. It means being smarter about which fruit you choose. With every meal, you have a choice. To ease your pain or feed it. To support your movement or silently weigh it down. You don't need a drastic diet change. Just a few mindful swaps, and your body will start to thank you. In your joints, in your steps, in your mornings. Smooth transition to closing reflection. So if you've made it this far, thank you. That means you care about your body, your future, and your freedom to move. But before we close, let's reflect together on what we've learned and what this journey really means. Because strong legs don't just carry your body, they carry your independence. Let's wrap up with a few final thoughts, a word of encouragement, and a reminder that it's never too late to move forward. One choice, one fruit, one step at a time. Thank you so much for watching. If today's video made you pause, if it got you thinking, or even inspired a small change in your daily habits, we'd love to hear about it in the comments. Which healthy tip are you promising yourself to try this week? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real, science-backed health insights delivered every week just for you. Your health journey matters, and we're here for it every step of the way.